Hello, everybody. It's George from Ireland. Well, news that everybody expected, myself included. And yes, Andy Burnham has got permission from Labour's National Executive Committee to stand in the forthcoming by-election at Gorton and Denton. So Andy Burnham, Mayor of Manchester, he's in his third term. He was obviously a Labour Party person, former Labour MP, Cabinet Minister under Gordon Brown, twice unsuccessful candidate for the Labour leadership. I remember in 2015, he was runner-up to Jeremy Corbyn. So, yeah, Burnham's wanted to come back into Parliament to have a shot at the Labour leadership, and therefore that means the Prime Ministership. So there's been feverish speculation for months about this. A Labour leader actually win. What's his name's Starmer's approval ratings are down in the toilet, in the very vulgar phrase. So it could only help if Burnham got in. Now, Burnham has his enemies. There's always a bit of jealousy. There's a bit of factionalism in Labour. He likes to say he's on the left of the party and so on. So would he, won't he? He had to, really, because there'd been so much speculation. If he didn't, he would seem to have chickened out. This is his last chance, because if Starmer takes a fall, somebody else becomes Prime Minister. He or she would lead Labour into the next election in 2 or 3 years' time, probably lose, possibly win, whatever. This opportunity to be Labour leader wouldn't come up for several years for him. Maybe he might be, yes, he's just too old, yesterday's man, something like that. So that's why he's got to take a risk. So the NEC is packed with Starmerites. Yes, I know it's hard to believe that there are some people who have a high opinion of Sir Keir Starmer. So are they going to block him? Quite likely they are, but it seemed like a stitch up. It reminded me back to 2000, cast my mind back, when Ken Livingstone was to be Labour's candidate for the first directly elected mayor of London. And he was a left-wing extremist. And so Blair was determined to thwart him. And what elected Labour leaders in the old days was this 3-college system or whatever. The MPs had a third of the votes, is a certain trade union officials had a third of the votes, and ordinary members had a third of the votes. And in the ordinary members of the London Labour Party, what's his name? Ken Livingstone got something like 80% of the votes, and then he lost badly amongst trade union officials, lost very badly amongst MPs. So he wasn't Labour's candidate. So despite promising he wouldn't do that, he broke the pledge and decided to stand as an independent against Frank Dobson, the official Labour candidate, and indeed he won. It was seen as being a stitch-up that Labour was have an unfair selection process designed to block someone whom Blair thought was bad news. And it was therefore a disaster for Labour. They should have been won quite easily with him. And in fact, Labour lost, an independent won, and actually was allowed back into the Labour Party 4 years later. He was expelled from the Labour Party for standing against Labour. So if Starmer is seen to use every trick in the book, fair means and foul, to block Burnham, that will reflect badly on him, even if what he's doing is within the rules, and presumably it will be. So the NEC will probably say no, and there'll be howls of outrage about that one. Significantly, Angela Rayner, who's an MP for a nearby constituency, she said Burnham must be allowed to stand. Lucy Pole, who's the deputy leader of the Labour Party, and she represents a Manchester constituency, she said we've got to have the best candidate for Gorton and Denton this by-election, because it's not going to be easy. I mean, Labour won almost comfortably last time, but Labour's poll ratings are down. Reform UK is up. I mean, I think Labour would win it anyway, but just not by so much as usual. Particularly Burnham would win it because he's very popular in northwest England. He's a Scouser, but, you know, he's been a mayor of Manchester for, is it 9 years now? Okay, so there is coming in. But even if the NEC says, yes, as a sitting mayor, you can stand, there are more hurdles to clear. Because if he does stand, the law requires him to resign as mayor of Manchester. That causes a by-election for the mayoralty of Manchester. And, you know, it should be a walkover for Labour. It was previously. He won by 67% the time before last. I reckon Labour would still win, but not by anything like as much, maybe 50% of the vote. So that would cost them hundreds of thousands of pounds. And if they lost, and there's a serious possibility they'd lose, maybe like a 30% chance they'd lose, again, that would be deeply embarrassing and demoralising. So that would be a real fillip to Reform UK, probably any other ones who could win up there. So then he comes in, and then that's a threat to Starmer. Burnham has made little secret of a desire to kick out Starmer, and the left of the party, they see Burnham as their saviour. Okay, so he's 55. I suppose he's articulate. Let's face it, he's fairly good looking, all the rest of it. Seems to have a happy private life. No skeletons is covered in that regard. Somewhat successful minister. considered a highly successful mayor of Manchester. But just because he does well in Manchester doesn't mean he plays well everywhere else. And Labour people are thinking, well, Starmer's going to fall anyway. If not this year, then next year. We've got to have a creditable prime minister. And Angela Rayner, though she's popular amongst the Labour ordinary members, she is despised amongst the general public. One of the only Labour politicians who are even more unpopular than Starmer say, oh, it's because I'm working class. Oh, it's because I'm a woman. Oh, it's because I'm a redhead. This a victim complex thing. So they think that Burnham would be a decent prime minister and leader. So, but I think if they reckon that Burnham would completely reverse their fortunes, they got another thing coming. Yes, there would be a bounce in the polls. There always is with a new leader, but the problems go beyond one person. There's all sorts of failure to deliver. And actually, as I said before, I don't think Labour is doing as badly as the poll ratings have us believe. I mean, although I revile the Labour Party, I notice unemployment is quite low. Okay, it's gone up a bit. Inflation is fairly low. Of course, I want it lower. There is economic growth, small, yeah, but you know these things are not bad. The NHS in England is coming down a little bit. Is there that they maybe building up the armed forces a little bit? I mean, there aren't disasters really going on in public. So I almost feel a bit sorry for the Labour Party that their approval ratings are so atrocious. Considering the way they're governing the country is not disastrous. So Burnham, even if he gets permission of the NEC, Labour could stitch him up by having an all-women's shortlist. That's not a stitch up. We're feminists. We believe in more female representation. We shan't stop till it's 50-50 male-female in Parliament. And that would block him. I don't know if you can mount a legal challenge that. A Labour candidate that successfully in the 90s, a Labour man saying an all-women shortlist, that blocked me, that wasn't fair. Okay, and then even if there's a shortlist to be candidate for that constituency that's open to males, that doesn't guarantee that he will be selected as candidate. It could be somebody else to say, well, he's still pale and stale. Yeah, want a younger candidate, an ethnic minority candidate. We shall see. All right, goodbye then.